Hello, viewer. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm going to type in quick. All right. So, welcome back to another broadcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. As you can see in the title, today we have Precious with us. I'm super duper excited. She's going to be talking to us about the importance of singleness and giving us her testimony. You guys know about my mug, Stay Positive. You can go down my page and find out how to get those, or go to Stay Positive Crystal 8 on the Facebook. And when I start my in the Omega days. When I start my broadcast, I always start out with the Daily Promise book, and today is 213 out of 365 days. And it says here that I love the Lord because he hath heard my voice and my supplication, because he hath inclined his ear unto me. Therefore will I call upon him as long as I live. And you can reference that back to Psalms 116, 1 through 2. It says, he hath inclined to hear unto me, no matter how trivial. The Lord promises to listen to your prayers. He wants you to draw near to him, to talk with him about everything on your heart. James 4 and 8. He won't put you on hold. He won't ask you to come back at a later time. He won't tune you out. It's a promise you can count on. Yay! Also, you guys, I'm doing the Apple Watch giveaway. We want to get the message across and out. So the more people that follow me and things like that. So don't forget to like and share on this video. But without further ado, let's go ahead and pull Precious up. Yay! Hi, Precious.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you so much for having
Awesome.
me. I really
Girl,
appreciate being here and having the opportunity to share my testimony.
yes, it is a gift. Let me get this fixed. There we
Oh,
go. You are a gift, and I thank God for you. I seen, at times when I had got busy, you have just totally took over the Women of Fire group, y'all. She is in charge of the Women of Fire group, and I thank God for her. That is so awesome. I'm so excited, like I could turn some cartwheels right now.
oh. But you know
Yeah.
what, Crystal, you're not the first woman to share that. I had several sisters who said, Precious, oh my goodness, I was praying to God. I was like, God, how do I continue to stay engaged? I got busy with work, or I got busy with school, and literally out of nowhere, your videos came right at the right time. Your video, I was like, wow, I had no clue. I just was going and felt led to put them in certain groups. And so I'm grateful that my obedience translated. And so thank you so much for sharing it, because I didn't want to seem overbearing or overpowering anything. I just really wanted to give. And so many women reached out to me. It was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to, I just felt
No,
led.
ma'am.
So I went with it.
Yes, and I've been like, okay, I got to put a cash offering on the side for this lady, because I mean,
Oh,
you are over there working, and that's okay. So, Precious, before you begin, can you just tell us a little bit about your ministry and what you do and where people can come find you at on social media and things like that? And then also the launch of you and your husband's new ministry that you guys have going on.
Yay, of
Yay! I
course. Thank you
know.
so much. I know there's so much going on. But
Yeah.
my name is Precious Simone Whitener, but like my branding name is Precious Simone Inspires, because the Lord has given me a platform to inspire his people, to encourage his people, and push his people to know who they are in him and walk in their purpose unapologetically. You can find me on Facebook, Precious Simone Inspires. Find me on Instagram, Precious Simone Inspires. You can find me on TikTok, Precious Simone Inspires, because that is who I am. I inspire. I provoke and push you to be who you are called and created to be, a prayer warrior, woman of God, married, which you all are going to hear about her soon. But you can find me on those platforms. You can find my husband and I just launched our ministry, Misplaced Crowns, where we are talking about where we have misplaced our crowns in life and how to come back and reclaim your crown from the places that it's been stolen. So, woo! Go to like and follow
He is
on
on
the
fire.
Misplaced Crowns Ministry Facebook page. So much more to come from that. The Father gave us that vision in 2020, which we will be talking about on the live. And now we are in the business of launching what it is that he gave us. So, yes, I am an author, an inspirational speaker. I'm in nonprofit management in my day job, but most of the things that I do is committed to helping people grow personally, professionally, spiritually. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good you are in any area of your life. If your spirit isn't well, it's going to reflect everywhere. And so I'm huge on where's your spirit? How are you in your life with your relationship with the Lord? And
Yes.
I'm all things fun. I love to
Yes.
have a good time, all things faith, and that's me.
You're also an AKA, isn't that right?
I am an AKA. Yep, I am
Yeah. You
a
just-
lovely member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
yeah, awesome. And so, where can people go get your book at?
You all can find my books on Amazon. You can also order from me directly, but ultimately you can go through Orderzon. I still get all of the proceeds or whatever. But
Okay.
Amazon and Precious Simone, if you look up my name, Precious Simone, you will find the books underneath my name. And so much more to come, y'all. I got some developments and some different things that are coming down the pipe even now. So I thank God, y'all. Living your gifts, living your calling, living your purpose, because I'm telling you, you don't know how many branches are connected to your yes. You don't know what God has from your testimony. You don't know what God has from as you continue to say, you know what, use me, Lord. He continues to give you downloads. He continues to give you so much more that you didn't even know that was attached to your yes, baby.
Yep. Amen. Yes.
Now you didn't get me all stirred up.
I know. I feel like you got to come back because I know I, it might have to be a series with me and Sheena. Also, she was going to come on, but she gets so super busy, so she wasn't
Uh-huh.
able to. So I know the chemistry will be awesome. So tell us a
Aw.
little bit about your journey, because we probably can just sit here and talk all day before we get into the
Of
meat of it.
course.
As a single lady, I got to
Mhm.
actually listen. I got to come to one of your lives that you were doing, and the story is awesome. I think
Aw.
that it is phenomenal. I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe it was you and your husband both actually telling the story. It was awesome. So, where do you want to begin with us on that tonight about your journey as being single?
Yeah. So the journey of singleness, I'll just start with how I got single.
Okay,
If
awesome.
that's fair, because
Oh,
I was single in college, post college, I got in a relationship. So I want to go from how I got back single.
right.
So I, full transparency, I got married in 2012. In January of 2012, I was proposed to him in January 2011, got married in January 2012, a whole year later. And here I am on top of the world, top of the world. I have always desired to be married, had always longed for it. I wasn't quite sure if it was 100% in my background or what's going to happen for me. My mom had been married a couple times, but it wasn't through my entire family. So I wasn't quite sure if it was going to be for me, but I knew it was something that I desired. Well, here it is. I get married, and I believe that this is going to be what God has for me. And within months, my relationship began to unravel, and I was devastated. I was heartbroken because I'm like, "Ooh, God wrote my story. I'm in this. I'm great. I got a
Right.
man of God. I believe God has so much in store for us." And it began to unravel. And one of the things I always tell people is that I had to walk through that, and I had to go through that because it developed me and groomed me as a woman. There are a lot of things that I had learned about womanhood. There's a lot of things that I hadn't been taught through what it looks like. Even I didn't know how to be a wife. I don't
Oh, you
think
mean to tell me that you have to be developed into a woman? It just doesn't happen?
it doesn't happen. No, you have to be developed. Womanhood is something that it has to be instilled in you. Not that we don't have traits, we already have qualities, we already have amazing things about ourselves, but at the end of the day, I did not have any example of what a good marriage looked like, and he didn't have an example of what a good marriage looked like. So we tried with what we had, and we did our best. But I assure you that things about our upbringing, things about life, things about it just collided. And though we're great people, two great people just didn't make it together. It actually unraveled and fell apart. And so I like to tell people, I'll be honest in saying that the way that I communicated at times could have caused a lot of shutdown and a lot of what's going on here, and
Communication.
and yeah, the level of patience and allowing a person to come out of their shell. And then for me, I like resolve. So I'm like, no, let's fix this now. So if I see something I didn't like, I was big on like, let's address it, let's get through it. And that didn't always translate, if I'm being honest. And so and the reverse was I'm like, I'm not getting love, I'm not getting affection, I'm not getting attention. What's wrong with me? I'm questioning my worth, questioning my value, questioning if I'm lovable. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
And I
so
was
much.
going through that in my early 20s, and it took something out of me. I lost my smile, I'll be honest, because within that time, like I said, things were happening so fast. And I also want to go back and say, sometimes you go into situations wanting to change. Your courtship kind of begins to show you some things that you are going to deal with. However, in my mind, because I'm like, no, we gonna win, we gonna make it. Like, there were things that you kind of things that are red flags that you don't always deal with well in your courtship. They kind of show up and translate over into the marriage. And so there were some things that I felt like, oh, we can fix this, it'll be okay. Well, it wasn't okay, and we couldn't fix it because of how we dealt with it in the courtship. And so I like to tell people that too, your courtship will set you up and show you kind of what kind of relationship y'all are going to have if you don't deal with certain things. And so I remember just being like, wow, we dealt with that same stuff we dealt with over here. We dealt with over here because we didn't address it well. And so I ended up back single, girl.
That's
He wanted
cute.
out. I'm like, no, we gonna make it. He wanted out, and that was the start of the journey of becoming precious, and the journey of becoming a woman, and the journey of forgiveness and learning how to forgive, and the journey of knowing my worth and my value, and the journey of understanding that I had to walk through that. And that was a part of my journey. Even though I didn't like it, it was very unsavory. I didn't like it. But what I did after that time is I spent some time learning myself. I spent some time growing and developing Precious. All I knew growing up was strong women, just strong women with a lot of kids. Just being honest, like that's my story. Strong woman with kids. My auntie, strong woman with 7 kids. My mama, strong woman with a lot of kids. My auntie, strong woman with kids. And there was no how to be a feminine, like how do I embrace this woman that I am? How do I embrace the feminine side of me and not the strong aggressive side? Like how do I embrace this piece? And I walked through a journey of that, and it hurt. It was hard. I have to have some hard conversations with myself, hard conversations just in life in general, and began to say, okay, Precious, this is you and it's good, but how can we develop you more and walk into more? And so I read books, I got into groups with support groups with women in the body, and got some mentorship. And it radically changed my life. It radically changed how I view myself, radically changed how I see myself as a woman. And so I spent after I got divorced in 2014. I spent literally the last 6.5 years just working on Precious. I didn't, I was once scared to be in a relationship again, if I can be honest, Chris. I was like, no, I'm good on relationship. And then I was afraid, of course. And then thirdly, I didn't believe that after my situation unraveled, I was like, well, I don't want to open up again. Who's going to want me after this? If that didn't want me with all of my education, all of my beauty, all of my talent, all of my skill, being a woman of God, being a woman of prayer, being a woman of faith, I associated everything that I was and said, if that one person didn't want it, then why would somebody else wouldn't want it? You know what I'm
And
saying?
so you didn't So what it sounds like to me is your singleness of life, and I'm not throwing shade on anybody, but this is just trying to help people who do want to be married. Like you
Yeah,
said, your singleness of life didn't involve going to the club all the time and doing this and do that. Your singleness of life, you said that you got around a group of women who could mentor you. So
yeah,
that's what you were talking about even earlier when you said developing into a woman, because it wasn't about
yeah. I
partying. This
wasn't drinking, wasn't sleeping around. I'm not gonna say that I didn't have a struggle, that I didn't fall and have temptation, because I did.
even if you met somebody decent in the circle that you were running around in a decent circle, you may have had temptations.
I
But
may have
however,
had, I did. I had temptations, and even once I was done with my relationship, but full transparency, I was still running back, and he was still running back, and it was hard to cut loose. So even once we were done, we were still. I'm just being 100%, because nobody talked to me about, like, well, what's life after divorce? I heard
right,
people saying, well, close the door, lock the door, don't let him in. What does that even look like? That I can't, because I'm
right,
still emotionally tender towards him. I'm still I can't close the door, right? And even if after I did 3 or 4 days, if he come back day 5, okay, I'm nobody's walking me through this process or even talking me through. So I'm begging for help. Like, what do I do? This was my first real heartbreak, so I'm struggling, and it
right,
wasn't really till the father had told me to move. So I moved, and he didn't know my location or anything, and I began to heal. And so when he would come around through text message or email, I didn't cut him off that way, because some part of me still had hope, if I'm being honest. And there was
most
no
women,
access.
yeah,
Yeah, there was no access. There was no way of getting to me. And after that, my heart began to heal. Right, the access, because he moved right down the street from me, so the access was right there. This is our space. We used to live together, so I always opened the door. And then one day, the heart just began to heal. I began to forgive. I began to find my worth and value, and I realized I don't want that. I don't want it in that way.
right.
Not a rejection at him, but I don't want, if this is what it's going to be, I don't want that like that anymore either. And so, yeah, I spent my singleness. No, I wasn't in the club. I wasn't drinking. Well, I've never been a drinker, so that's just me. I have some family issues with alcoholism, so I never drank. And then when it comes to clubbing, I stopped clubbing like age of 19. I got saved, and I was like, I'm done with the clubs. So that wasn't my situation, but I did surround myself with some positive women, women in the Lord, women who prayed for me, who encouraged me, because it hurt. It hurt really bad, and it stung, and I didn't know how to really manage myself, because I had never been in a situation like this where it was that painfully unbearable. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
I did. And you're right, it's not a shot at sisters, but when you do go to fill your voids in that way, it will cause your healing journey to take a lot longer.
Yeah, because another one of my girlfriends who is married, she said that, when she talks to her single friends that are not trying to heal or not in like prayer groups or circles, they're under the misconception these days that it's about going and getting BBLs. And this is not
Yeah,
throwing
no
shade.
shots, no
These
shots. Yeah.
two, yeah, and married women have a different view of things, and so under the misconception of doing my body like this and going to the club is going to help me capture a man, or give me the life that I want as far as marriage is concerned, like that is a big deal right now. And she's going like, that's not it.
It's
So
not
I was
it.
like,
Yeah.
your
It's going to
singleness,
give you attention, but it's not going to be the attention that's sustainable and that's long, that produces
right,
longevity. Who knows? Some of them people, it may, I can't speak, but as a kingdom woman, it's not. As a kingdom woman, you're not going to find it like that. And honestly, that temporary lust and love is going to lead to a lot of disappointment and a lot of hurt. I'm seeing it over and over again. Countless women creating Instagram reels or TikToks or Facebook posts about men out here who gaslighting, who are ghosting them, who got wives on the side, who got side chicks on the side, who doing all kinds of things. And so if that's the temperature of the day, then I definitely want to be mindful of the arena that I put myself in. If I want to attract the guy that I believe God has for me, I have to put myself in arenas where he can see me and find me.
yep. And so it has to be a mindset change, because even to how we approach, because you don't want to isolate yourself, because they used to say that married women shouldn't hang around single women, and now we understand why, because I feel like it has to be a whole new atmosphere set of even etiquette of how you approach, because some of my married friends again said that they're getting approached to even engage in things like that. And it's like, come on, y'all, we got to change our mind. Why would you ask a woman who is building a family, or her and her husband are building a family, to even come out and do something like that? They may be a
Agreed.
generous person or have something to offer you as a single woman, like mentorship, but you shouldn't, be asking married women who are actually, building with their husband a family to be coming out to events and things of that nature. It's kind of disrespectful, and
It's
it
very
kind of makes
disrespectful.
you feel a type of way
Yeah.
too.
But
Yeah,
that is also to that friend to set those type of boundaries whenever she has those type of friendships. I don't have those type of friendships that are going to ask me to do anything outside of character. If women are have those type of friends, so even when I was single, I was around my married friend because at one point we all was married, right? So I'm the
right,
single friend now, and
right.
everybody's. I went from married to now I'm the single friend.
And I know
And-
too. So yeah,
right? And so I was still the single friend around those married friends, but there was still one hope being pushed, instilled in me. There was encouragement being put in me
right,
around them. And these are my friends and family that I have had for a lifetime now. So I
right,
love them, but I have never encouraged them to do anything
right,
negative because that's not my environment. And they would never encourage me to go into negative or spaces that we shouldn't be in because it's not who we are. But for some of
right,
those women who do put themselves in those situations, they have to look up and say, this is not me. And it's okay to give yourself permission to say, this is not me. This is
right,
not who I am. And I've had to do that several times throughout my journey, Crystal. Like, this isn't me. This is not Precious. That's not Precious. Precious wouldn't accept that. Precious wouldn't allow
right,
that. The unhealed version of Precious will, but that whole version, that healed Precious, would not allow that. Wouldn't take that. So I had to heal through that and have that conversation with myself. That this ain't me. That's not me.
right. So moving forward, as you start healing, then what happened?
Yeah. The girls start going up, okay? The little girl wasn't trapped inside no more. I had to nurture the little girl in me, the little girl who lost her dad, the little girl who needed to be affirmed and validated and loved on. I had to love on her and nurture her. I had to call the little girl up and speak to the woman, pour her out. And so I nurtured the little girl. I loved on her. I let her cry. I let her throw her tantrum because that's another thing people don't don't do. They don't love on the little girl in them. And most of the time, the little girl is the one that is throwing attention, temper tantrum, that lashing out, that is begging for attention and love. The woman on the inside of you is has cultivated herself and says, I don't need that to be a woman. But
Mhm.
if the little girl is screaming out, the woman is going to fight for that. Does that make
Right,
sense? And
right,
so I spend time, like I said, reading, getting around people who are praying for me, going to get mentorship and people covering me, correcting me. Look, I always tell sis, you ain't above correction. It's people who have
uh-uh,
gone before you, and it's wise to learn from your own mistakes, but it's wiser to learn from the mistakes of others. And so for me, people poured into me and say, Precious, don't go left. Precious, don't go right. Precious, forgive. Okay, show me what that looks like because I
right,
have not come from an upbringing that taught me how to forgive. Just, I
right,
got to be honest about these things. And it's not to put a slight or a diss at your background or your past, but it's to say, I did not have the tools. You get what
right,
I'm saying? I didn't have the tools,
right,
and I'm comfortable with admitting that nobody can hold anything against you that you reveal. My
right.
God, can't nothing be held against that you expose.
So you have to honor
And I'm
yourself. You
honest about it.
look yourself
Exactly.
in the mirror and say, "This is really what is going on with
This
me."
is
And
really what's going on. I'm the problem. It's me.
right, well,
And when
within
I say
me,
I'm the problem, is I'm the one that needs some work. I'm the one that needs the healing. I'm the one that can't see through this right now. So I need some help.
right,
And so I walked through my journey that way. Several guys did come across my path, but the healed Precious, the Precious that was healing and the healed Precious told them, look, I'm not well. And I don't know, many people want to fill a void so bad that they refuse to tell a person who's come across their path, I'm not well, or I don't want to hurt you, or I don't want to hurt you because I don't know who called to you. So you have to be in a place where you being nurtured as a woman to be able to communicate that back to the brothers. And I told several men, I'm gonna hurt you, and not out of a bad place. It was I'm not well. My mind's still there, my
right,
heart's still there. So even though I'm healing, I still had longings. I was still like, dang, okay. Well, now that I'm well, maybe because I'm better, then we gonna be good. Do you get what I'm saying?
right.
No, no. Mm-mm. That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. I was healing and well, but I also was able to see another lens of why we couldn't be. See, when you're not well, you see why you need to be. But when you're not well, but let me get it right. When you're not well, you see why you need to be. When you get well, you see why you're not. And I began to see why we wasn't together anymore. And that healed version of me was able to accept it. But when guys came across my path, I was then able still to look after them because I care for our brothers. And I don't want our brothers to be hurting and can't get to the next
Right.
woman because the last person played games with them. And I wasn't
Right.
playing games with nobody's emotions, and I wasn't playing games with nobody's spirit. Now, did I have my people that I talked to? These was my check-in people. Yes. But even when I get to this part of my testimony, I still had to cut it off because it was still an emotional space that they was taking up in my life, whether I had a man or not. Okay. And so, and feel free to pause me if I talk fast and I get excited. So,
No, you
you
have
know,
a you have
pause me if they have questions, let ask them and let me know, and then we'll keep going. So, guys came across my path, affirmed me, and I appreciated them. You know, men who didn't want the bedroom in me, who saw me for who I was,
wow.
past my looks, but didn't pressure me to get in the bed, didn't pressure me, but validated me and affirmed me as a woman. I was like, whoa, I can have that. Like what
It's possible.
like what?
Yeah.
Like, is this real? Like, because that's all I knew, right? So I was like, oh man, he didn't ask for my sheet. He didn't ask for the sheets. He didn't ask me to spend the night. He didn't come for my clothes. Oh wow, hanging around consistently, and that wasn't the case. And another guy happened the same thing, just validating me, affirming me, pushing my goals. So I knew that it was a prototype of what I was supposed to have. These people did not pressure me in the sheets,
More
but it
like
was
brother in
more like
Christ.
a brother. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I love them. Like, this is great. And so fast forward, then similar situations. I had people who I began to grow closer to, and I felt like, well, maybe something might be there. And only for us to learn that it wasn't anything there, but it was still that thing that I desired. A man who leads, a man who's spiritually inclined, a man who loves me, a man after God, a man of character, a man of standards. So I was attracted to those things. And I was around those things. So it made me desire it even more. Like, dang, is he the one? He the one? Is he the one? Is he the one? People taking me out on dates. Are you the one? You called to ministry? You love God? You know, I was like, ah. Then I was like, I'm gonna give myself a break. And then finally I was like, you know what, God, what it is I need to be open to love. I want to be open to love. So at the top of 2020, I said, okay, God, I want to be open to love. I don't want to push it away. Help me to be open. Well, after I made that declaration, my ex came back and we was having this conversation. And this was the first time that I was ever able to admit to him out loud that we couldn't be. And I never had the guts, never had the strength to communicate that to him. Like, no, we just can't be. And I was like, whoa. And I cried. And was able to walk away from that. And then later in the year, around August, I felt led in my spirit to join the Pray for Your Future Spouse Challenge, which I shared on that live that you're referencing. And it was a pull. And I cried. I was like, oh, man, pray for my spouse. I ain't praying for a spouse, and I don't know how long, God. What do you mean? What do you mean? But I felt this so strong and so heavy.
Yeah.
And I joined it. And I remember calling some of my friends. I was like, yeah, I feel like God wants me to pray for my spouse. I was like, why are you crying? This is what you want. I was like, I know, but it's so real. Like, you know how you know the weight of God and God's presence on you. And when he pulling on you to do something, you know it's him. I felt that, but it felt scary. And I was like, dang, I really tell God I want to be open, and now it's happening. But now I was like, well, who is it? I don't know who it is. I don't know,
Right.
like, you know,
Right.
because I told you I had my little couple of friends around. I'm like, oh, is it one of them? Well, the day after I joined the challenge, the next day I was in the car and I felt led to pray for him again. And I remember talking to one of my guy friends. I was like, you know what? I don't even know if we're gonna see each other no more. Like, it was just weird closure conversations that were happening randomly. And that night I got a call from my first lady at the time, and she said, you know, daughter, are you by yourself? I was like, yes. And she just had a vision of me, and she saw me in no dress. She saw me getting married. She saw me with a ring. She said, your husband is right in front of you. She said, God says to cut off anybody somebody who is connected to you emotionally because your husband would not be able to connect with you. She said that y'all have ministry, powerful things you're going to do together. I mean, listen, I hope. She said, come, he's looking for his wife. Come, get ready, get ready. You don't have time to waste. But God says he's right in front of you. And I was just like, so I cried some more. And then I'm weeping, I'm sobbing because she don't know what happened the night before. But I always say you never know what your disobedience had you held up. Your obedience start unlocking things for you. But
Come
my
on.
obedience to join the challenge unlocked that for me. Who knew, right? Who
Right.
knew?
Right.
And I'm crying, I'm going halfway
Especially when you
crazy.
look now.
And you said what?
Especially when you look back at it now, like, what?
Woo!
Yeah.
Heaven
Like, I didn't even know
forbid,
I was
right?
doing.
When I look back over now, I'm like, God, thank you, thank you. That's
Yeah.
why I tell people, listen to your spirit. Your spirit will not lie to you. When God wants to talk to you,
Come
listen
on.
to it because you don't know what's in store for you. Well, I told her about the prayer challenge and how I felt led to join it. And she was like, wow. Like, and then she was like, well, that's the Lord and he bringing confirmation to you. But she was just telling me what to do and all that, and just groomed me and was like, I'm here to help you and coach you in this thing and showing me, how to be how to be a wife and what to do, what not to do. She's like, not this, I didn't know things, but she was like, we want to see you win. We want you to do this right. Here are some things to do. This is how you be a lady, like all these different things. And I was like, God, thank you. I called my mom, I called my sister. I'm just crying, like, God didn't forget about me. And then they're like, God. Well, what, 2 months later, September, October rolled around, and we coached track together. So the man I'm married to now, we coached track together in 2017, and we all had this coaching group where we always text each other, and we got together quarterly to spend time together. Well, one of the coaches came in the group and was like, I miss y'all. And we all just went in, I miss y'all too. You got to think about it. COVID shut down everything. We all hadn't seen each other. We didn't have a track season, and we come in our playing around. Now I should share that prior to that message, people always picked on me all the time about me and Coach Leon's relationship. Like, always like, what's up with you and Coach Leon? Nothing. Yeah, I'm like, there's nothing going on. We cool. We friends. I don't got eyes for Coach Leon.
Right.
We cool. They're like, no, some nerve. It's something. I'm like, it's not. Well, we are in the coaching group, and the coach in the group, she was in a relationship, and we was picking on her about a relationship. She said, well, let's all go out to eat. And he was like, yeah, bring your guy. And I was like, oh, we going on a double date. And I was like, what the heck am I thinking that for? I was like, shake it off, shake it off.
Yeah.
Shake it off. And
Yeah.
then I had reached out to the coach. I was like, y'all always picking on me about Leon. I'm about to go in here and say, you know what, coach, it's 2020. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot my shot. We ain't getting no younger. Baby, I put that in that text message and fell completely apart.
Happy.
I was like, I was just playing.
Uh,
He didn't say anything for a long time. And that's because he was in the horse barn over here, and he was taking care of the horses, so he didn't have no service, so he didn't see the message. So a whole day goes by, and he didn't communicate with us. So we come back in the group. I'm like, Coach Leon, I was just playing. He's talking about, what are y'all talking about? And Sierra, the coach was like, you ain't seen none of the messages? Screenshot the messages and put them in the text messages. And I start falling apart, about to throw up, like, why did she do that? And he was like, what, Precious Savon? What you talking about? I was like, oh, shoot. I was like, nothing, coach. I was just playing. He was like, we'll talk. I was like, oh, shoot. And something just fell over me. And I began to feel like, I was like, oh, man, I forgot Coach Leon, a man of God. Like, dang, what if he got something? I just remembered that suddenly it dawned on me, like, oh, shoot. Like, he is a prayer warrior. He does spend time. We pray with these kids and track and all that. Like, whoa, what have he been praying? And then later on that night, we was going to eat, and he was like, Mrs. Whitener, are we carpooling or are we meeting her? And I was like, did the man give me his last name? And I fell apart. I was like, oh no, we're gonna meet there. Like, everything was happening so fast. Like, I could not wrap my mind on how God expedited this stuff.
yeah.
We go out to eat. He walked into my car, and then he was like, what you got going on next week, in during the week? And I was like, let me check my calendar. I'm usually busy. The day he wanted to hang out, I wasn't busy. We end up going out. We end up sharing our testimony. We talking. We end up talking about how we got here. And the next thing you know, we realized that this was something that we were supposed to cultivate. And he began to confirm the prophetic word that was over me. I hadn't even shared it with him yet. He was like saying stuff that she said. And the first lady said, and I was like, oh, shoot, this might be something. So I'm praying and I'm asking God to like give me confirmation. He continues to give me confirmation. And the rest is literally history. Like God literally unfolded my story. We continued to court. We did not kiss. He did not pursue me in the bedroom. We decided that we wanted to leave those pieces of the relationship out so that they would not be a factor. Not that people don't have to go without kissing, but you know yourself and you know what leads you to the bed. And so for us, we were like, no, we don't want it to be a factor. And I heard the world, people
Right.
was like, "Ooh, you took a risk, girl." Ooh, girl, no, I have to test that. Ooh, girl, I had to see. Well, I've done that already. I've done that
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
It didn't lead me to marriage. Some did, you know what I mean? It did in place. I did that already before. Let's try something I haven't done before. And
Right.
did that, and we were able to focus on our purpose. God was able to give us a vision for our ministry. God, we read together. We read books together. We prayed together. We just got to know who each other, who we are as people, as individuals, which also helped us to make decisions better. Because the moment you start dibbling and dabbling in that, you make decisions based off the flesh more than you do about purpose. And for us, it was about purpose. Then I was engaged 4 months, 3 months, 3 months later, married 2021, June 2021, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. And so, what I take from the story is that you healed first. You healed first, and then I heard you say that your mentor said, "We're gonna help you do this right," and you did it. This is all prior before you even knew that Leon was your husband,
In
and
front of
so
you the whole time. God ain't gonna let you see something before your eyes ready to see it. I couldn't see him then. I see him now, but I couldn't see him those 3 years that we were coaching together. And here's the funny thing: people was telling him about
you
me,
think it was
like
nowhere near.
yeah, he coming out of a divorce or whatever, and then people was like, we, Precious. He was like, nah, Precious, Precious cool, Precious coach. Nah, he didn't want to approach me. But
Right.
people would talk to him about me. People were talking to me about him, and unbeknownst to me, through the summer, one of the parents that kids we coach, he reached out to Leon, talked to him. He said, are you dating anybody? And Leon was like, no, I'm all in on God. And he was like, I believe that there's a kingdom woman out there who you call to cover. So this is why it's imperative that you have the right voices in your life. Leon, he reached out to Leon and said, I think it's imperative that you have a kingdom woman to cover. He said he never prayed for a kingdom woman. He said, God is not going to waste you. There's somebody who needs your covering. Leon begins to pray for his wife July, August. I joined the prayer challenge August. He was
Ah,
praying before the Father to
wow.
present her to him. He said, so when God presents it to you, you better know what it looks like. So he knew when I sent the text, it was confirmation for his spirit because he'd been before the Father praying for a kingdom
Wow.
woman and asked God to present her. As soon as he started praying for a kingdom woman, he said, all these women from the past, everywhere start coming out of the woodworks. I said, that's how it be. He was like, no, God, that's not it. That's not it. So his spirit never agreed with any of those. Only for him to get in the text message, get those messages. And he was like, God has a sense of humor. He presented me to him via the text message.
Wow. Wow. That is awesome. That is an awesome testimony.
Yeah.
So that to me encourages and give people hope. So because you said too that you were priorly married, then
Yeah.
divorced, and
Yeah.
then God allowed you again to He gave you a second chance within that. So I think it is awesome. We're about to hit 40 minutes here.
Okay.
Um, is there anything else that you would like to share?
Yeah, I just want to encourage the ladies who are watching or whoever will see this again. Just he is out there for you. If that's something that you desire, the Lord will not leave you without it. You definitely have to push through and stay submitted to his will and stay surrendered to his will. You're not sitting around waiting on the man. You are fulfilling your relationship to the Father, and he will align who he think is best for your walk as you continue to walk with him. Not that that takes away your need or desire, but I didn't sit around moping for a man. I stayed with the Father, fulfilled his will. He sends across your path. Be okay with the fact that he's probably healing. She's probably healing. Be
Yep.
okay with the fact that right, you don't know who you're praying for and what they're walking through and walking in.
Yeah.
Because I was healing, Leon was healing, right? We didn't know that our healing journeys will eventually lead to each other. So as you heal, you may come and encounter them, but you cannot be out here, God, where he at? Where he at? Where he at? Where he at? If that's all you want God for, then God's like, hold up. Are you gonna leave me when you get it? And so I just
Okay.
want to encourage you to continue to pursue God and seek his face. I know it may look like all around you, people in relationships, they booed up, they bait up, they whatever up. But see, God's will is best for you, and he will align it in the allotted time. He will align what's best for you in the proper time. So I just want to encourage you to don't give up believing on love if you still believe in it. Heal, forgive, release, and move forward. And in due time, the right person will come across your path, and God will
Yeah.
align you to something that complements you. Okay.
Yeah. And that's straightforward. Well, I am so glad that you came on tonight, Precious. Hopefully, you get to come back because I know
Yes,
you
I
get.
would love
I
to.
heard you're doing ministry all week long, so and plus, we're gonna have replay watchers on this. So I wanted. That's how come I'm rushing this off because at 45, it won't allow me to keep replaying it after
Okay.
45.
Okay.
I hit the 45-minute mark. But we'll get together and talk. And you're awesome. So I know we'll be seeing. Are you in St. Louis?
So are you? Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, that's what I thought. So hopefully, we'll make a connection. I have something else to talk to you about.
Okay.
Something coming up in mid-June, but I'll text you and talk to you about it. We'll have to talk to you about it on here. So
Okay.
you're no conversation. So awesome. Yay. So you
Thank
guys heart
you.
up Precious replay watchers. Thank you for joining us. And then catch Precious and her husband on Thursday, right? 7
Yep.
p.m.
Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Standard
I'll
Time.
be sharing it too. So
Thank
all right. Thank
you.
you,
I
Pam. Love you.
appreciate you, woman of God.
All righty. I'll talk to you soon.
See you soon. All right.
Okay,
Bye
bye.
bye.